Hey, it's Modern Bro. Today we are talking about something every guy eventually realizes, usually not during some inspirational sunrise moment, but during a random weekday when everything feels slightly cursed. Life is unfair. Not occasionally unfair, not mildly unfair. Consistently, creatively, sometimes almost comedically unfair. And weirdly enough, once you stop fighting this truth, life becomes dramatically easier to handle. The lie we all quietly believed? Most of us grew up with a very comforting mental model of reality. Work hard and good things happen. Be disciplined and life rewards you. Be a decent human and somehow everything balances out. Sounds nice, feels fair, completely detached from how the world actually works. Because real life runs on timing, probability, luck, human bias, chaos, and 1,000 invisible variables that do not care about your personal sense of justice. You can do everything right and still lose. Someone else can do everything wrong and still win. That is not a glitch. That is the system. 1. Stop taking unfairness personally. One of the biggest mental upgrades you can make is realizing that life is not targeting you. I remember having a phase where every inconvenience felt like a personal attack from the universe. Missed a deadline, awkward social interaction, unexpected expense, bad timing. Internally, I was like, why is this happening to me specifically? Then one day it clicked. Nothing was happening to me. Things were just happening. Your brain centers your own experience so strongly that randomness feels like intention. But most events are just probability doing probability things. Life is chaotic, not malicious. 2. Comparison is where suffering multiplies. Unfairness becomes unbearable the moment comparison enters the picture. You can feel perfectly fine about your progress until you see someone else seemingly sprint past you. Suddenly, your stable life feels like a failure documentary. I once felt extremely proud of a financial milestone I hit. Then, 5 minutes later, after scrolling online, I saw someone younger flexing a lifestyle that looked like a Netflix original series. Mood destroyed instantly. But comparison is fundamentally broken logic. You are comparing your behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel. You see their wins, not their stress, timing, advantages, hidden struggles, or lucky breaks. You're not measuring reality. You're measuring perception. 3. Accept that starting points are wildly unequal. Some people begin life ahead. Better environment, better financial safety nets, better genetics, better timing, better connections. This used to irritate me deeply. You see someone glide through opportunities while you're grinding like a side character in your own story. It feels unfair because it is unfair. But outrage does not change your position. Adaptation does. Reality is not obligated to be symmetrical. Once you accept this without emotional drama, you free up an absurd amount of mental energy. Because energy spent resenting reality is energy not spent improving your situation. 4. Play the game that actually exists. Many frustrations come from arguing with how the world works instead of understanding it. I should not have to care about money. I should not have to manage my image. I should not have to network. Maybe. But you still do. You do not win by debating gravity. You win by learning physics. I had a phase where I thought effort alone would magically produce results. No strategy, no optimization, just blind grinding. That is like going to the gym and doing random exercises while hoping for superhero aesthetics. Effort matters, but directed effort matters far more. 5. Convert frustration into momentum. Here's something slightly uncomfortable but very real. A ridiculous amount of male progress is fueled by emotional damage. Breakup, suddenly disciplined. Rejection, suddenly ambitious. Existential crisis, suddenly productive. I have personally had some of my most productive periods immediately after something mildly traumatic. Pain is a surprisingly effective performance enhancer. The key difference is this. Some people convert frustration into paralysis. Others convert it into momentum. Same emotion, different trajectory. 6. Focus only on what you control. Unfairness feels overwhelming when you obsess over variables you cannot influence. Luck, timing, other people's decisions, macro conditions, random events. These are real factors, but mentally wrestling with them achieves nothing. Your controllables are your leverage points. Skills, habits, health, financial behavior, social ability, discipline, adaptability. Once you narrow your focus to controllable inputs, life becomes far less emotionally chaotic because you stop reacting to randomness and start responding with strategy. 7. Timing quietly dominates outcomes. Timing is one of the most underrated forces shaping life trajectories. Right effort at the wrong time often looks like failure. Average effort at the right time often looks like brilliance. I have seen situations where someone's success had less to do with superior ability and more to do with perfect timing. This is not discouraging, it is liberating, because consistency increases your probability of colliding with good timing. You're not chasing guarantees, you're positioning for favorable odds. 8. Detach your identity from results. If your self-worth fluctuates with every win and loss, life becomes psychologically exhausting. Win, you feel invincible. Loss, you feel like a malfunctioning human. That emotional volatility is brutal. Outcomes are noisy. Effort does not perfectly map to rewards. Rewards do not perfectly reflect effort. When you detach identity from short-term results, stability improves dramatically. You stop riding emotional roller coasters built by randomness. 9. Everyone is struggling just differently. One of the most stabilizing realizations is understanding that nobody has a frictionless life. Even the people who look wildly successful are dealing with stress, anxiety, pressure, trade-offs, unseen problems. Life does not remove problems, it upgrades them, which means comparing struggles is mostly pointless. Everyone is fighting something invisible. 10. Unfairness is actually a filter. Here's the unexpected twist. Unfairness reveals character. Most people collapse the moment reality violates their expectations. They freeze, complain, spiral, disengage. If you remain functional when life feels unfair, you automatically separate yourself from the majority. Resilience becomes a competitive advantage. Not talent, not luck, psychological stability. Closing. Life is unfair, not because the universe is cruel, but because reality runs on complex systems, probabilities, timing, and randomness, rather than human concepts of fairness. Once you accept this, something interesting happens. You stop feeling betrayed by setbacks. You stop expecting perfect symmetry. You stop wasting energy on outrage. Instead, you optimize strategy, behavior, positioning, and mindset. The goal is not a fair life. The goal is a strong mind inside an unfair one. Subscribe if this upgraded your mental operating system. See you in the next one.